On behalf of the Standing Committee on Petitions, and in accordance with Standing Order 207, I present the following petitions. From 96 petitioners regarding federal funding for the National Partnership Agreement for Kindergarten, from 1,376 petitioners regarding federal funding for the National Partnership Agreement for Kindergarten, from 124 petitioners regarding the location of an NBN tower in Pacific Haven, and from 207 petitioners regarding the World Heritage status of Tasmanian forests. The following ministerial response to a petition has been received. From the Assistant Minister for Infrastructure and Regional Development to a petition requesting that Australian road rules allow for a minimum distance between cyclists and cars. The terms of the petitions and the response will be recorded in Hansard. Madam Speaker, as Chair of the Petitions Committee, I've spoken in previous weeks about the role of the committee and members generally in presenting petitions to the House of Representatives. Today I thought it might be useful to look beyond this House and to consider the treatment of petitions in other parliaments. As today is Bastille Day, it seems fitting that I begin with arrangements in the French National Assembly. The rules of procedure there encourage a degree of formality. Petitions must be addressed to the President of the Assembly and may be presented by any member. However, a petition that is brought by a gathering on the public highway must not be received by the President or represented by a member. The rules of procedure provide a formal process for petitions which are brought to the Assembly in the accepted way. The President of the Assembly refers these to the House committee that is appropriate to consider them. That committee appoints a rapporteur who makes recommendations to the committee, which then decides how to deal with the petition. It may decide to take no further action or to refer it to another committee or to a minister or to submit it to the House. The petitioner is informed of the initial committee's decision and informed again by a second committee or the minister of their decisions. If a committee decides to submit a petition to the House, a report is produced of the text of the petition and distributed. Members of the National Assembly receive a bulletin from time to time summarising petitions and the decisions made about them. Members may then ask the President to submit petitions referred to in the bulletin to the House. If this request is agreed to, the report on the petition may be set down on the agenda of the House. If we turn to the United Kingdom House of Commons, we see a process that in some ways is more familiar. The resolutions and standing orders of the House of Commons have requirements about the language and form of petitions, and like our standing orders, require a petition to contain the reasons the petitioner is petitioning the House and a request or prayer of the House to take action. Naturally, that action must be within the power of the House. The presentation of petitions is quite different from our processes. Petitions must be presented by a member, and this may be done any time the House is sitting, by a member dropping the petition in a green bag behind the Speaker's chair. Or a member may present the petition formally in the House and make a short statement about it. After the petition has been read, the member gives it to the clerk at the table, who reads the title. Or, if the member does not wish to make a statement about a petition, the clerk may read out the terms of the petition. The member then drops the petition in the green bag behind the Speaker's chair. The Journal Office of the House of Commons assists members to ensure that petitions asked to present are in order. Once presented, the votes and proceedings for the day of presentation include a record of the petition's presentation, and a copy is sent to the relevant government department. The House of Commons resolved in 2007 that all petitions should receive a response from the relevant minister. These observations from ministers are printed in Hansard, and a copy of the petition is sent to the presenting member. Copies of petitions and ministers' observations are also sent to relevant House Select Committees which then put the petition onto their formal agenda. The German Bundestag has its own petitions committee, but its role appears to be significantly different from that of our committee. It receives about 15,000 submissions a year, and about 1/3 of these are requests for legislation. The committee has an unusually large mandate. It deals with all petitions relating to the Bundestag's legislative functions and with complaints about federal authorities. In this respect, it takes on a kind of ombudsman's role. The committee has a significant mediating role between complaints by individuals about authorities and a role in scrutinising legislation that is the subject of complaints. It may press for amendments to legislation and recommended action by the Bundestag. The committee can't review court judgments, but it may seek to influence federal authorities involved in current court action. Although it has an investigatory role and powers that are unusual from our perspective, in one respect the German committee is very similar to our petitions committee. Its function gives it a monitoring role on issues that concern citizens and motivate them to call for intervention by their parliament. The point of this short journey around national parliaments is to remind us that the tradition of petitioning Parliament is not confined to Westminster-style parliaments, nor has it been consigned to history by the rise of social media. In all cases, parliaments are being asked directly by citizens to intercede on their behalf with executive government. As institutions of broader systems of government, parliaments have made their arrangements for petitioners to raise concerns publicly and for those concerns to be conveyed in a way that provides petitioners with some certainty that they will be heard, even though they may not get the result they seek. Thank you, Madam Speaker.